Hey everybody, Shep here. Today is August 28th, and we're going to be doing something a little different in this video. I recently got a grain mill, and today we're going to be grinding, or well, I should say, we're going to be cracking some corn, and we're going to be mixing some food for my chickens. Now, what I'm going to be mixing for them is like a scratch grains thing. This is not to completely replace their food. I'm still feeding them 16% layer crumbles. But this will be to kind of supplement and stretch that out. And it's all stuff I grew here. So we'll bring you back here in a minute and show you what we're doing. Okay, so now I'm down here by the lean-to of our pole barn. And this is where I keep my grain. And today, to make this chicken scratch, we're going to be using 3 different ingredients. And it's all stuff that I grew last year. So as we know, it's the middle of summer, well, getting toward the end of summer now. And I just got my chickens this spring, and I grew this stuff last year. I knew I would be getting chickens, so I grew this stuff so I would have some stuff to feed them. So I'll show you what we're going to use, and this is just what I'm doing because it's what I have. Like I said, you could do this really however you want, and I've got other stuff. I've got their store-bought feed, so that's what they'll still be getting. So this right here is wheat that I grew and threshed. This is all that I've got. You know, it's a probably 2-gallon maybe here. And obviously this is the most labor intensive of these grains that I'm going to be using. I grew wheat this year, but had some stuff come up where I couldn't actually thresh it. So this is all the wheat that I have. I don't have wheat for them next year, which is fine because I decided that as much trouble as it was to get this, it really wasn't worth it. You know, if I wanted to, I could go and you know, buy some wheat. At the time of this video, I think wheat's about $8 a bushel. It might be a little cheaper than that now, but to me, I would rather go buy it again. It's that much work. It's neat to say that you've done it, but it's a lot of work. So I got an ice cream bucket here, and I'm not gonna really get a whole lot. I'm just probably gonna get yeah, 3 handfuls. So not really a whole lot. And I'm probably going to get about the same of this. Now this right here is grain sorghum. Some people call it milo. I've always just called it sorghum. But this is stuff that I also grew this. Now, where I live in Indiana, I have never seen, some people grow like this, the sorghum, the tall kind that you make molasses out of, but I've never actually seen grain sorghum grown around here. It's done really well for me. It's pretty long season, but for the amount I grow, I really enjoy it. It's a pretty plant. It's not super labor intensive. Now, I threshed all of this by hand, and it's not too terribly difficult, much easier to do than wheat, but I have sorghum growing this year, and my plan on it is I'm probably just going to cut the heads off of it and just feed those to the chickens. Maybe give them one when I give them some cracked corn or something. I'm not going to go to the trouble of threshing it. So I'm going to, I don't know if you've never seen sorghum. There are a lot of store-bought bird food for feeding wild birds has sorghum in it, but I'll put about 3 handfuls of that in there. And I'll show you the last ingredient. So my last ingredient that I'm going to be using is corn. I have a video that was one of the first videos I did from last year when I was shelling my corn, and I showed kind of my setup, how I did it. This is just a galvanized garbage can, and this is my grain bin. Um, I did the math. I think it holds like two and a half, 3 bushel maybe, something like that. And so this year I also am growing corn. This is open pollinated. Actually, this year I had to replant my corn, and I had to come and actually steal some corn out of here. But that's a nice thing. You can do that with open pollinated. So for my amount that I'm making today, I'm just going to get this ice cream bucket, 1 gallon, get that about full. I've got a little bit of corn that I cracked the other day, so I'm not going to get it completely full, but we'll use that, and then I'll show you here us grinding it here in just a minute. Okay, so now we're in my garage. This is my new grain mill. It cost just over $50. I bought it online from a large online retailer, and this is what it is, if anybody's interested. So the one I wanted to get, I really wanted one that you can hook an electric motor to, but those were several $100s, and at this point in time, this is kind of what I got. The reviews of this, there were some good reviews and there were some bad reviews, but from my experience with it, I've actually been pretty impressed. It's a lot heavier duty than I thought it would be. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing. Is you got a crank and it grinds up the grain. I don't know how well this would do for if you were wanting to, grind wheat for flour. Maybe you would want a higher end model. I don't know. I'm not going to use this for that. At some point, I may try to grind some corn for cornmeal or something, but I got this, 99% for just cracking corn for my chickens. I've got it mounted here to, this was a 2x4 that we ripped in half or something. I just happen to have it laying around, but it's perfect size to clamp this to. And then I've got the other end in the vise. And like I said, there's not a lot to it. I have it set where it's as open as it can go, so the biggest, chunks come out of it. I've been impressed. It's not really that hard to crank. I thought it would, you'd really have to do it, but it's pretty easy, and it doesn't require a lot of force. But I'm sure if you cranked it down to try to grind fine stuff, it would. But we'll go ahead and I'll show it in operation. All right, so I got the mill loaded up, and it holds about half of that ice cream bucket. So I have another ice cream bucket sitting on a box, just to raise it up. It's not super dirty, but since we are here in my garage, I kind of would like to keep this as clean as possible so it won't attract a lot of mice and stuff by having grain all over the floor. So we're kind of going to do this in real time. It's taking very little effort to turn. I don't have any trouble doing it. I'll bring you around and show you the corn coming out. Okay, so you can see this is what it looks like. It's pretty large chunks, but the corn's all the kernels are cracked open. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna top the hopper off, and then I'm gonna set the stopwatch on my phone just to see how long it takes to grind a full hopper, in case you all are interested. Okay, so you can see the hopper's empty now. This is the cracked corn. That's what it looks like whole. And I timed myself and going at a steady pace, you know, not trying to do it real fast, but, you know, steady pace. It took me right at 5 minutes to crack that hopper full. So we'll go ahead and start to mix this. I put our wheat and sorghum in this bucket, and I will start to add the corn to it and kind of mix it together, and then I'll go and grind the rest of the corn and we'll mix it together, and then we'll go feed it to the chickens and see how they like it. Well, here's the finished product. After mixing it, I highly recommend doing that outside because it is very, that corn does get very dusty. The girls seem to like it here. I know I've been giving them a little bit of cracked corn, and they really like that. I think it's been neat that, you know, I grew all the ingredients of this, and that it's kind of been, you know, over time. Like I said, I grew it last year, and then here I am now feeding it to the hens. I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's pretty cool that it all came from right over there. So it doesn't get really much more locally grown than that. Well, I hope you like this video. Like I said, it's a little bit something different. If you have any questions about anything, you know, feel free to ask. And I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you liked it. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.